All right, good morning, traders. Today is November 16th, 2023. My name is John Kerrigan. I moderate the BYOB trading room. My SPY pivot this morning, 450.39. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All four indices and FNGU have made higher highs on their daily charts, which puts them all in uptrends. US dollar index is hovering around 104. USO and UNG, that's crude oil and nat gas, are in daily downtrends with lower highs and lower lows on their daily charts. SLV has found a home around 2150, which is about the middle of the consolidation channel it was in before it took a dip. Gold continues to consolidate over 179. I'm looking for weakness to materialize in the Fab 5 because they have reached resistance from a move from far away. We'll see. Just because I'm looking for it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Let's go take a look at some charts. All right, here's a 10-minute chart of a SPY. And I said I would be taking the second 10-minute cross. Here's the first 10-minute cross. The second 10-minute bearish cross. Here's the first one. And there's the second one right there. And I said I'd take that cross with probably max buying power to flush down this way. We'll see what happens. Why did I do that? Because on the daily time frame, you fill this candle in right here. Let me take that out and find my marker. Just kind of fill this in here. Right up there, we have a big green candle at the end of the move. And what do we got today? A doji candle. So if price continues over the high, then they're going to make more highs. But typically, you don't see a big candle. When you see a big candle at the end of the move, kind of signals it's coming near an end. Excuse me. And then you've got a doji, which signals pause. So I'm looking for a possible just melt slowly back to the trend line, the backside of this trend line. So that's why I took that trade at that point. So there's SPY on a daily. So let's look at the daily candle. It's a doji candle, higher low, higher high. Doji pretty much means there's a pause. That's pretty much a popular candle right after a big candle at the very end of the move. Is a pause to see what's going on. And then we'll look for a pullback from there. Maybe an MMRP. We'll see what happens, but there's SPY putting in a doji at the end of a big move candle. So there's SPY. If we look at that with some, let me delete that and let me scroll out. All right, and you can see we've made higher highs, no higher low yet. This is the last low. I would expect a higher low to show up somewhere, but no higher low as of yet. Unless you want to count this as a higher low. It's not really. It's more like consolidation. But there's SPY making the higher high, which puts it in an uptrend. So here's a low. There's a high. Made a higher high. Makes it an uptrend. QQQ. QQQ. Making a higher low and a higher high. Continues this move up here, so we'll see what QQQ wants to do. I would think it would want to come back and test support before moving higher, and that's what we're going to look for QQQ to do. Nice move up. QQQ in a daily uptrend. Why? Because we got higher highs right up here. So QQQ, looking for that. It's into resistance right about... well, right up here. If you can draw it in, I will draw it in for you. Try that again. And you can see right there it's QQQ right into prior resistance, attacking this year's prior highs back in July. So we'll see what QQQ does here, if it needs to pull back, reload, and then make another run at it. So there's QQQ in a daily uptrend. Let's take a look at FNGU. All right, here's FNGU making a higher high for the daily candle. We've got an equal low and a higher high, but it's a red candle, kind of signaling a possible top here. We'll see what happens. But we can see on, well, let me try this one. You can see it breaking the downtrend, but you can see it's right here at a prior top. And I'll draw that in. And you can see right now FNGU is dealing with these highs right over here. So we'll see what happens. So FNGU in a daily uptrend with equal low yesterday and higher high. So there's FNGU. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM putting in a kind of a topping wick candle up here, dealing with resistance. And if you look at where these candles point up and these candles point down, you can pretty much draw a line right there, and you can see right where IWM came into the resistance area right there, and of course we got a topping wick candle right there. But nonetheless, making a higher high puts it in an uptrend. So we'll see how it navigates over this resistance that it just hit. So here's IWM. There's the prior uptrend right there. And you can see we came back and hit the back side of it. Looking like an inverse head and shoulders right here. Excuse me. So there's IWM in a daily uptrend at this time. Getting kind of a pullback here in the early markets. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Here's the downtrend. And you can see the downtrends being broken right there. It's being tested, spiked. Here's your downtrend. All I do is connect the tops. See this candle right up there? And you can see here's that downtrend being spiked right there, right into resistance. All right, so that's IWM. Let's take a look at, this is the neckline of the head and shoulders. We should probably extend that. So now let's take a look at Diamond Dow. All right, here's Diamond Dow. Here's the neckline. So there's Diamond Dow busting over the neckline right there and into prior highs. If we look across here to the left, you can see we've got prior highs. See these hills up here? These represent prior highs. This would be major resistance right up there. It's the consolidation. The peaks and the wicks represent major resistance. The valleys and the tails represent minor resistance. That is if you're underneath it. So we were underneath it, and you can see we came up through it. And now we're attacking the major resistance up here. Now, if they manage to get through major resistance on a lot of these indices, the Fab 5, that would be Diamond Dow, QQQ, the NASDAQ, IWM, which is the Russell 2000, S&P 500, SPY, IW, and QQQ, I said it, yeah, and FNGU. That would be my Fab 5. So if they happen to break through major resistance, that would be a very good thing, all right? Then you're looking out for more upside to follow if they get through that major resistance. So there's Diamond Dow. So now let's take a look at our indicators. All right, T2122 in the overbought zone all day yesterday. Okay. We'll see if that's going to hang out there today. T2123 started out bullish, and then they just kind of pulled the bid and just let it free fall and melt from there. So, but not a little bit red, green, red, green. Now we got T2123. A little bit of space opening up here between trend indicator and price action on T2123 FNGU indicator. Kind of signaling a possible top here or some overhead resistance. You've got green at the beginning of the day, and then we've got a pullback, and then we attack the VWAP, and now we're back underneath it. So here's FNGU, probably going to have a pullback a little bit today. We'll see how far it goes. But there's FNGU. This is my indicator for FNGU. All right, let's take a look at, not looking at that one. Let's take a look at precious metals. So here's silver. All right, so here's silver. This was the consolidation channel right here. And they got knocked out of the consolidation channel. They're in a downtrend because they've got lower highs and lower lows. All right, so we're back hovering around 2150, kind of in the middle of the consolidation zone. So we'll see where they want to go from there. But there's silver. Not really bullish yet because it's still in a downtrend, but it is attacking that status by trying to make higher highs here, leaning on this 2170, 22 area to make some higher highs. So there's silver in the consolidation channel right there. Gold. Gold is in an uptrend, all right? And you can see gold making the higher low, and you've got the higher high. So gold is in an uptrend. Let's look for this to break probably above this 183. And I'd look for gold to possibly make another higher high. So there's the gold pullback, making the higher low. And gold is in an uptrend. This is the prior consolidation wedge. And they fell out, and then they blasted all the way through the, well, this would be support. Then it became resistance because we were underneath it. And we blasted through the resistance, and this was diagonal resistance. And we blasted through diagonal resistance to come into prior highs right up here, and now we're getting a small pullback. So there's gold. This is my buy box for gold. If it happens to come down lower, I'd like to add more. But there's gold on the daily chart in a daily uptrend, just experiencing a pullback right there into the buy box. So there's gold. Take a look at energy. So let's look at crude oil first. Here's crude oil making lower highs, making lower lows. Crude oil's in a downtrend. Okay, the markets are up high, but energy is fading here. Okay, so that's not a good sign. It doesn't bode well. It doesn't support the energy, the markets rallying to new highs. Yes, I understand inflation is going to give them bigger numbers to work with. I do get that. But I don't see all 8 cylinders, banging away on the markets with energy not being in demand. Because if there was sufficient demand, energy would be in an uptrend. And it doesn't look like energy is in an uptrend, because it's now in a downtrend making lower highs and recently lower lows. So just be careful up there, all right? Here's UNG, kind of saying the same thing, all right? So here's UNG. Again, you can see this is UNG, has been in this consolidation channel for probably 7 months now, all right? So that doesn't spell big demand when energy is way down here. Not to mention, this is well after the Ukraine crisis, or what happened in Ukraine, which was supposed to put a squeeze on the supply of nat gas, and you can see that the nat gas never really got off the ground here. All right, so we got lower highs and lower lows. So something's not right. Even though the market's rallying, just be careful, because energy does not support that at this time. It doesn't mean it's not going to do it in the future, but I'm just saying that with energy down here and consolidating, something doesn't seem right. So for me, when I look at the markets, I see a big bull trap. That's what I see. All right. So let's take a look at. Take a look at some of the sectors. So here's IYT, and this would be our transportation. Transportation finally made a higher high right here yesterday. But notice a good part of that high is a whole lot of wick up there. All right? You see that? That high is almost equal parts body as it is wick. So we'll see how far this goes. But we just blasted through or made that higher high yesterday. So you can see this move kind of looks like a measured move, if you ask me, from here to here and then from there up to there. So we'll see where they go from there. But transports finally hit uptrend status yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon. So there's IYT, there's our transports. Now let's go look at our financials. That's the XLF. Okay, XLF still underneath this downtrend line. That's not good. All right. And you can see XLF making higher highs. That's good, but we're not making higher highs and higher lows above the downtrend line. So still a little bit of work to do here. XLF needs to be up here, making higher highs and higher lows. Now they've climbed back into this uptrend line. That's very good. Hopefully they can settle down in this last little wedge right here. Maybe make a bull flag pennant and slowly grind away at overhead supply and, eventually climb into this uptrend line over here, breaking the downtrend line. But right now, we don't have financials completely. They're doing good, but they're not completely on the right side of the tracks yet. So there's XLF. Now let's take a look at SMH. SMH is, wow, SMH yesterday. Okay, these are new highs for the year on SMH, pretty sure, yeah. I think these are new all-time highs too. So there's SMH making new highs without Intel, by the way. You would think Intel would be making new highs when SMH is making new highs. How about AMD? I just want to see. AMD is not making new highs. So SMH is making new highs without Intel and AMD. Two of the major chipsets for home PCs. So that's kind of different. Didn't see that coming. I would have thought. But here's SMH making new highs, breaking this downtrend, putting it in a monster uptrend here, way far away from trend indicator, almost vertical right here. So be careful with that one, chasing that one right up here at the highs. So technology is on fire. Here's the bull consolidation wedge. You can see you move up, and then you can see the consolidation wedge here in SMH. And we broke down once, came back, and then they gave us a topping wick, signaled the top of the end of the move, and then they came back down, made a lower low, which put them in a downtrend, and now you can see them kind of doing the same thing that gold did, is ripping back through overhead resistance, ripping back through diagonal resistance, and challenging the recent highs. So there we are with SMH. So these are our sectors that we look for confirmation that the market is doing well. When SMH is in an uptrend and the financials are in an uptrend and the transports are in an uptrend, and it's nice to see the small cap stocks too in an uptrend, all at the same time, then we can start seeing things firing on all cylinders. Right now, we do have some uptrends, but we also have some downtrend lines to break through first. So we got some stocks that are in an uptrend underneath their downtrend lines. That's good, but it doesn't quite cut the mustard yet. So there's SMH. All right, let's take a look at economics. And we'll take a look at, here's the US dollar. This is the US dollar index. All right, here's the July pullback low. And then we rallied up to an October high. Consolidated in a bull flag over 105.50. Okay, then we just kind of fell out of that bull flag. And it looks like we're headed down towards this kind of curling 200 or flat 200 at this point. So we'll see where it wants to go from there. So you can see price action comes down to, see all these wicks that stick up in the sky right there, right underneath my crosshairs. All those wicks. Well, all those wicks were resistance before. Well, now that we moved above them, they become support. So you can see here's that candle comes all the way down to support, and it gets kind of halted there. So we'll see what happens if they're going to bounce, if they bounce back and get more energy and run back at it, or if they just grind away at the support levels right here and finally fall through. So we'll have to see and watch this where this goes. Now, when the US dollar gets weaker, that's very good for our markets because that makes our goods and services less expensive when we sell them in foreign countries. And that makes us more competitive against other companies that are also selling the same goods and services. Remember, we have pretty high labor force, expensive labor force here in the U.S. because it costs more to live here. Whereas other countries, it doesn't cost as much to live in their country, and therefore they can justify a lower price point when selling their goods and services on the global stage. So a weaker dollar is good for the markets, but it's not good for the dollar, right? You see what I'm saying? And as price goes up, it makes our dollar more expensive, and it kind of, the markets tend to pull back when the dollar goes up, simply because it just makes our goods and services more expensive, and they have a harder time selling our goods and services overseas. Now, when we sell our goods and services overseas, that accumulates as part of our GDP, gross domestic product. Okay, so this dollar right here, the dollar index, has a big part to do with gross domestic product. That's GDP. All right, so there's that. I want to cover, today is Thursday. We got jobless claims coming out at 8:30. Philly Fed at 8:30. Import-export prices 8:30. A lot of stuff happening at 8:30. I don't think any of it's going to be market moving. Industrial production 9:15. A couple of Fed speakers. A whole lot of Fed speakers. Busy day today for the economic calendar. All right, industrial production at 9:15, housing market index at 10, and the natural gas report at 10:30. And all the way at the bottom, we got Treasury, international capital, Fed balance sheet at 4:30. And then tomorrow, we got housing starts and 4 more speakers. Actually, 4 more speakers, and one of them speaks twice. So there we go with tomorrow's calendar. All right, so busy day today, but I don't think any of it's going to make a big difference in the markets today. I think we're at a top, and I think that we're going to have a pause, and I wouldn't be surprised if we pause again today. If we pause at the pause. So there's the economic calendar. Now let's look at earnings calendar. Earnings calendar for today, November 16th. Walmart, only $500 billion. It's going to report before the open. That should be interesting. Baba, before the open, $200 billion. Applied Materials, $128 billion. NetEase, $73 billion. So those are the notables this morning right there. All right? Walmart, $500 billion. Tomorrow, we got BJ's Wholesale, only $9 billion. That's it for BJ's. Wow. And that's it. So not many notables tomorrow, except for BJ's, but they're only $9 billion. Would have thought they would have been more than that. All right, so that's it, traders. I'm going to take questions in the room, and I look to see the rest of you out there in YouTube land and Rumble, probably about 4 o'clock. All right, I'll do another video, wrap up the day. If you're out there in YouTube and Rumble land, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. All right, so look forward to seeing you all at 4 p.m. Everybody have a wonderful day.